Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome to another episode of the Hayley Osborne Show. This is episode 116. Oh my goodness, 116 episodes. I cannot even believe I'm saying that. I'm so excited though. We are, as this episode comes out, we're mid-year, and that is super, super lovely. And so, just so you know, too, this is being recorded. Like, if you are listening on Apple or Spotify or through my website, amazing. But it's also being recorded live. So if you want to like watch and learn via me, face to face ish, digitally, it's on my YouTube channel. And I've been doing this for a while and I always forget to say, but come and follow me on YouTube because that is where these episodes get recorded. Now, as this episode is coming out, and this is the purpose of today's podcast episode, is really to ask you, what is your social media game plan for the second half of 2024? Because this is really important, right? Do you have a game plan, number one? I hope that you do. And number two, have you written it down anywhere? Do you know what it is? And I wanted to go through a couple of suggestions, ideas, things that have, popped up as being really important that I think that you should know, to take you through the second half of the year, because what got you here won't get you there. And what I would like you to do before you even listen in is assess how your social media has gone in terms of a marketing pillar of yours for the first half of the year. Is it a matter of, you haven't actually gained that many more ideal clients? You haven't gained that many more ideal followers. You lose some, you win some, it kind of evens itself out. Some of your videos are going well, some of the posts are going well, not really, but you just do it because you think that you have to do it because it's, the main like marketing platform for your business. But is it, right? So I really want you to take a couple of steps back to move forward and think about what's worked so far in your social media and what hasn't. And is it actually converting your ideal clients? And so if you look at your stats and you go back to the beginning of the year, to June, because we're at the middle of the year, what does that actually look like for you? And if your answer is, I've gained some, I've lost some, it kind of is even, then I'm sorry to say, but that's not good enough. And you're either not doing something right or you haven't pulled the right levers and you haven't got some kind of plan to move you forward. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So I'm sitting here. I am also quite pregnant, which you probably know. So if I sound out of breath, that's why. So I'm just keeping it real. Got a beautiful cup of peppermint tea here, just drinking it. It's quiet in my recording studio, which is lovely. So I can bring you some real goodness. Okay, so if you have a look back at, what's worked and what hasn't worked across the last 6 months, I would definitely be continuing to replicate the things that have worked inside your social media. Now, look back at posts, how well they've done, videos, how many plays they've got, not necessarily how many likes, and then also have a look back through your story archive, right? And there is no point in firstly you like recreating the wheel. I don't think that you need to do that. I just think you need to do more of what worked and then add to that and vary it up and mix it up in different ways and shapes and forms. Okay, because your story is a beautiful one, but when you can figure out how to tell it the same way, but tell your story kind of the same, but in many different ways to get on the different levels of where your ideal client might be meeting you at, is such a beautiful strategy and gift to be able to do and have. If you don't know how to do that, let's chat. I'm more than happy to help you. But I know that this is something that is really powerful and that really, really works to be able to think more strategically about how you're going to move forward with your social media, because don't forget, it's one part of the marketing mix. Now, Another thing that I want to highlight to you is organic social media is wonderful, but it's not as wonderful as it used to be. And so if you feel like the last 6 months have been a little bit static, maybe it is time to invest in some paid advertising, okay? Because a little bit goes a long way. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm happy to help you navigate how to do that. But when you can strike some money behind it, all of a sudden, your efforts don't seem that fruitless and you start getting rewards. And so if you've dabbled in putting some advertising behind your social media in the past and it hasn't worked and your click-through rate is really high, maybe you need to pay an expert to be able to do it for you. And, I feel like it's kind of a few steps forward and like one step back, two steps forward. So you might think it's an investment at the beginning, but it pays for itself tenfold in the long run, okay? And so knowing that and knowing that social media is a marathon, not a sprint, you should be in good hands with yourself to move forward to be able to create some magic in this space. Because number one, it's super time consuming to create content. Number two, if you don't know how to leverage content to its fullest ability, repurpose, reappropriate, then you are going to be creating so much work for yourself. It is not funny. A couple of months ago, I taught a masterclass inside superhero marketing on clever ways to repurpose your content more than once. And there is so many different ways for you to do clever content marketing inside your business where you're not breaking your neck with time creating it. Okay. So if you want to learn more about that, you can join the waitlist to my membership, Superhero Marketing, and there is a full masterclass and suite on how to do that. And I've been doing this a long time, so I have so many beautiful tips and tricks up my sleeve. If you want to know what they are now, just send me a DM on Instagram or head over to my website, hayleyosborne.com. I actually have a 30-minute free strategy session that you can book in with me for free so that we can have a bit of a chat on where you are at right now. I think that's beautiful. But otherwise, what is your game plan for the second half of 2024? So take what I've just told you and let's move on. So what are some of the things that you can capitalize on in terms of being able to stay update with the latest trends that are going to give your business a competitive edge? Okay, so here's some things that I would look out for in the second half of 2024 and try and lean into to be able to give yourself that sort of that game plan. Okay, so lean into them. And I know that one of them is obviously AR. Okay, so that's augmented reality. And those experiences are becoming more and more mainstream. So if that fits your boat, bucket, fits your business model to be able to lean in to do some cool things around there, that is an awesome competitive edge. And you're like, what is that, Hayley? I suggest that you look and research it, because when you can lean into new things, early adopters, especially in the form of small businesses, get higher ranked within the algorithm than like the larger businesses, because these social media platforms really want small business. Their objective is for small business owners to do well. So they want you to lean into lots of new experiences. The next one, if you haven't been doing this already, is your short form video content. Okay, so I'm seeing this continue to dominate the market, and I don't think it's going to stop in the second half of 2024. So if you haven't nailed your short form video content yet, I suggest that you go and have a really good look on how you can do that and leverage that and use it a couple of times a week in your social media, but it's got to be really valuable content. Okay. You can't be just blah, blah, blahing. Okay. It has to be really valuable content. So something that I do inside my business is, so I'm recording this podcast. I've just said before that it is on YouTube. And so the whole YouTube video of me, so there's no point in me just recording the audio of this podcast when I'm here anyway doing it. I may as well record the video. So that's capitalizing on two mediums, so audio and video. And so the whole video gets uploaded to YouTube, but then I upload the video to a program that I use that then cuts up the video into maybe 10 different small videos. And so then all of a sudden, I have a snippet that I can share on my socials for this podcast. But I also have 9 other snippets that I can then feed out to my social media in dribs and drabs, slowly drip feeding the content to upskill and educate every one of my followers on social media and try and attract new ones. And I can make that as creative as I possibly want. But the idea is that I'm doing this once and it then goes to many. Another thing is that I do with this podcast that is outside of short form video content, right? Because this dominates and I will be using it more and more. And I've done this for almost the whole year now. I've recorded the videos, is the audio then gets transcribed. Okay. That transcription then lives on my website. Then I create a blog kind of based out of what I've talked about, which then gets uploaded as a blog post on my website. So there's all of a sudden maybe 2 and a bit thousand words a week added to my website, which is awesome for my SEO. But what it also does is create social media captions. Okay, so everything I'm saying is then being transcribed into words to create captions. So along with the short form video content that gets spliced up through the video that I'm recording, the social media captions also get created. So I'm essentially doing one big piece of content and it's getting split up 100 different ways for me to be able to use. It also forms my weekly email. Okay, so these words are never wasted, but it's doing one and it's reaching many. And it is going to set me up for a really, really great 2024 because I have so much social media content ready to go. And, you know, like in saying that too, I'm also batching content and batching podcast episodes ready to have a baby because I need to have some time with my little new human. So I'm doing that. So this just allows me to be able to leverage everything about that. And you might think as the end of July approaches and all of August, how is Hayley doing this on her social media? It's all pre-planned, okay, because I have a strategy. And if I didn't have a strategy, I'd be crazy because that's what I teach my clients. And I have been able to create my content strategically to capitalize on the short form video content that I know works really well and that is continuing to dominate the market in 2024. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is user-generated content. Okay, so this is becoming increasingly trusted by your audience. And what I mean by that is if you have a service-based business, the user-generated content that you may receive are things like video testimonials, are things like when people tag you in posts that aren't your account, that they tag your account coming from their account, that's user-generated content. When you are interviewed on another podcast and that business then creates all their socials around you being interviewed, that's user-generated content. And anytime anyone shares a video testimonial, that is user-generated content, okay? And nothing screams you're amazing like somebody else saying it. And that is user-generated content, okay? And just know that humans buy from humans and people trust people. And this is really, really powerful, okay? So if you haven't started to gather those things for yourself, now is a really good time to do that. And it also helps you to add that as almost like a content pillar into your strategy and the plan that you're going to roll out for the next 6 months to incorporate, because it's really powerful and it's going to be even more powerful because there's so many brands flooding the market and it's okay. There's room to coexist, but how can you be better? This is one of the ways that you can be better. And then I think if you don't have a content strategy set up for your business, you're batshit crazy because how are you going to maintain marketing your business, okay, as well as serving your clients? You do that through a beautiful content strategy. And that is the thing that is going to help you remain consistent, leveraged, and a cut above because you always have something to talk about. So you need to get the mix right for your audience, okay? And it should include a mix of kind of the following content. So it needs to firstly keep your audience engaged, because that is what generates the most plays, the most views, the most engagement, right? When they're engaged, duh. But I think there's there's probably 4 or 5 ways, different types of a well-rounded, right mix of content that you should include in your strategy. And the first one is obviously educational content, and that is pretty much you providing value, your zone of genius, establishing your authority in the market, your thought leadership, right? You need to provide educational content to your audience. Otherwise, what's the point in them following you? Especially if you're a service-based business. If you're a product, well, let's talk about that. Why did you create it? How is it helping people, and how is it transforming their lives? Okay, really important. So continuing to provide educational content, it should be a part of your content strategy. And then the entertaining content is important, okay? Because this is the part that creates the connection. This entertaining element of content helps people to be able to connect with you. All right. So this will help your audience to connect with your business and with you so that people buy from you. And then you need to have an element of promotional content too to drive sales and leads, because we're not here for a haircut. Okay. So that's really important. You need to promote what it is that you actually do, and that needs to be included in your content strategy as a part of the mix. Then the next thing is interactive content. So that can come in the way of your stories, and it does boost engagement when people are interacting with your content. So stories, polls, quizzes, people commenting on your posts or your videos, that is interactive content. And the reason that it boosts engagement is because you are holding people on your content for longer, okay? Because they have to touch, they have to flick, they have to wait, they have to do things. And when you're holding people on your content for longer, it tells the back end little robots that your content is relevant. And so therefore, more people are going to be watching it. And therefore, if more people are watching it, the more people that are watching it, they will push it out to more people, because they sense that this is great content. We want more people to see it. So therefore, we'll push it out to more people. We, as in the little robots, it's all in the box in the back end. And then I think that your content strategy also needs to include an element of behind the scenes. Okay, so that really humanizes your brand on a human level. Humans buy from humans. So behind the scenes is so important. And if you don't have a content strategy that includes behind the scenes in your business, you really should, because that's kind of like the life, right? That's where the life comes into your business. So have a little bit of behind the scenes content. I think that is just icing on the cake. And then I really think you should be making sure that the second half of 2024, your content strategy includes experimenting with different formats like video, infographics, blog posts, live streams, and see what resonates with your audience the most. You cannot determine if something works or if it doesn't work if you don't actually give it a go. So I think take those things, use them, implement them, because this is what is going to set you apart in the second half of 2024 and give you such an awesome game plan to make a start, to make a difference. And if you are stuck in your sameness in and around your social media, and you have been for the last 6 months, maybe it is time for a change. Maybe it is time for you to invest in yourself and back yourself to get something like a social media strategy created from yours truly, me, to help you to be able to really leverage that platform. So what is a social media strategy? You can find out more about that over on my website, hayleyosborne.com. But pretty much what it is, and I totally get it, but it is pretty much a tailor-made master plan for you to follow and refer back to as a reference guide that's specifically made for you by me. It is a plan to help you, specifically your business, increase engagement and visibility, have the confidence to show up. It'll definitely increase your profile visits, followers, shares, comments, and likes. Business growth and sales is a no-brainer because you will have someone like myself looking at it from a different lens, because you don't know what you don't know. And then, you know, social media does require a completely different approach to other marketing channels. And in order for you to be successful, it includes a different approach. So I think, you know, take a long, hard look at what you've done, how far you've got in the last 6 months, and really look at what your game plan is for the second half of 2024, because you don't want to waste that time and you want to keep moving forward, and you want to use it as a key driver to increase your sales, revenue, profit, all the things. I hope that this has been somewhat insightful for you and has helped you think about some strategies to include in your game plan across your social media for the second half of 2024. That's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next week for another episode of the Hayley Osborne Show.